I'm not sure what's going on here today, lads. There's this rope that has been erected around the entire swimming pool with no sort of signage or indication of what's actually going on. I don't know if I'm allowed to go in there or not, but it's a beautiful day for the first time since last week, which might not sound that dramatic, but it has been depressing as hell here the last few days. The whole weekend it was basically dark and cloudy, and now suddenly it's beautiful again. I'm not sure what's going on with this weird angle that it's recording me at either. I was thinking what to make a video on today. I've been trying to keep up the old 1 or 2 videos a week on this channel, and for the first time in weeks I'm genuinely stuck. I think that's why I'm going to call today's video a video about absolutely nothing. A Thailand vlog about absolutely nothing. And I can find a little story in there, because I do feel like that is how the Thailand online space has become. A lot of stories about absolutely nothing, presented as if they are all helpful insights into life here in Thailand, when really what they are, and there's nothing wrong with this, is just personal experiences. I have seen people talking about problems in their condos as if it is a regular occurrence. Now, it might be in some condos. I've had problems in my condos before, but unless you're going to move into that exact condo, it's probably not going to affect you. You might have different problems to deal with. So yeah, people will present it as like, oh, this is what you should be prepared for when you move to Thailand. This is an example of what life is like in Thailand, when truly it should be, this is what you should prepare for if you move into this specific condo. I remember one condo I lived in a few years back. We only lasted about 8 months there because, number one, we went to the swimming pool and it was wooden flooring, wooden planks, and one of them broke beneath my wife's foot. Like, as in, like, it was so foundationally weak that it broke. And when we told them about it, when we told the staff about it, a week later, all it had was a cone over the top. No attempt to fix it or anything like that. Now, that was frustrating, but the actual worst part of living in that condo, I won't name the condo itself, was we then went to talk to them about something else. When the aircon stopped working in our room, it started dripping first of all, and then it broke down completely. We'd been in there about 5 months at this time, so clearly it wasn't through our use. We used the aircon just like anyone else in Thailand. It's a very hot country. Contacted the agent, couldn't get in touch with her. Went down to the juristic office to see if they had a way of getting in contact, and they actually told my wife that there was a joke between the agent and them that we were moaners. It's like the least professional thing I've ever experienced in my life, where they were acting like we were the problem because we didn't want to live in a condo without aircon. I'm not going to say that that is typical of living in Thailand, because that was that specific condo. We left there, we sacked off the deposit, whatever, because we didn't want to deal with that. I'm not sure if you can see the water here behind me, but the wind is making this swimming pool feel like the North Atlantic. I feel like I'm on one of those ships, you know, those horrendous videos you see online of a ship that is literally nosediving headfirst into the ocean. I feel like we've entered a time in this social media space where everybody, myself included, is chasing that content moolah, and I think what it leads to is content for the sake of content. And nowadays you see so many podcasts, so many vloggers, so much insight that it really doesn't mean anything now. I don't know what I stop for anymore. Do you know when you used to swipe and you'd see a podcast set up maybe like 10 years ago, a professional looking podcast set up like 10 years ago, and you'd think, bloody hell, this must carry some validity. What I'm about to listen to must carry some validity, because look how professional this scenario is. This is a guy sat in his room. This is a guy walking down the beach. This is a guy in a professional podcast studio. But I have literally seen the evolution of people online nowadays, where suddenly they are in a podcast setup. They've got the microphone. They're seemingly talking to someone off camera, although we never actually see that person. In my opinion, it doesn't add the gravitas that I think it once did. Now it's very transparent. It's very easy to see what is going on. So the question therefore becomes, who should you trust? Who should you listen to? Should you listen to anything? And I would say, despite making these videos to, you know, up and down success, some of them get views, some of them get no views, I would say no. Don't listen to anybody out here. Don't put your trust in anybody out here. If there's someone out in Thailand who you think is fucking hilarious and you just enjoy their anecdotes, you enjoy their comedy, you enjoy what they present, that's cool. What I would say is, don't put your trust in someone or base your personal choices, your personal life decisions based on a follower count. Especially some of the people out here that are rolling in like 500,000 followers on TikTok. Fair play to them. They've probably put the work in. They've probably been grinding, putting content out every single day, probably 3, 4, 5 videos. I remember when I first jumped on TikTok, there was these 2 guys. I'm sure some of you can figure it out, about a year ago. One guy, very comedic, very controversial, very outspoken on things. Another guy who's got a lot of questionable things being said about him, about his business, about the way he lives his life, etc. They were going back and forth for months and months, legal cases, people leaving the country, people suing each other, defamation, etc. One thing I do know is they were both getting the views out of it. They were both getting the engagement out of it. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a little bit of smart marketing, that everyone had been tricked into thinking that that situation, that rivalry was real. There were some horrible things being said about each other as fathers, as men, especially. So it was a very dark place to go to if it was indeed staged. Being as people want views, people want you to be logged in, people want you to be commenting, engaging, interacting, etc. I think both sides of that argument had their fans, both sides had their supporters. Ultimately, in my opinion, and I'm nobody. I make these videos, hardly anyone ever watches, but ultimately I feel it got a little bit boring. It got a little bit, again, transparent. You could see at a certain stage that the videos were being made for the sake of making videos. Everything needs to become content. In fact, I would argue some things, a lot of things, should be kept private. But nowadays, it seems so many people are convinced that because they've had one honest experience go viral, they need to share fucking everything about their life, even if it reflects poorly on Thai people. And the stories that you hear, they're framed as if this is the reality of Thailand, but some of them are just about people with rude manners. I heard a guy the other day, he pops up every so often, seems like a nice guy, talking about some lady picking his kid up and saying, you know, this is not right, this is not right, this is not to do with Thai culture. That's nothing to do with Thailand. That is to do with one person who has overstepped her boundaries. It's not to do with Thai people. I have a baby. No one has ever tried to pick up my baby in the 4 years that she's been alive, that we've been living here. And if they did, I wouldn't question it, regardless of whether it's Thai culture, regardless of anything. I would say to my wife, no, I'm not comfortable with a stranger coming and picking up my daughter. I said before, and I'll say again, if you're going to come out here and you're going to live here, that's cool. You've got to respect the culture. But especially when it comes to stuff like kids, relationships, foundational parts of life. Being a father, to me, is not about bowing down to social expectations. Of course, we raise our daughter in a mixed household. Culturally, we want her to have the best of both worlds. We want her to be Thai, to be proud of being Thai, but we also want her to know that she's British, that she can speak perfect English, she can speak both languages, she can speak them better than me. She's a little genius. And that means that in the future, if an opportunity presents itself here in Thailand, then so be it. If an opportunity presents itself elsewhere, based on the fact that she is British or based on the fact that she can speak English, so be it. Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm not going to bow down to anyone. I want my daughter to live the best life possible for her, wherever that may be. I've lived in Thailand now for 5 years. Guess what? I'm a little bit older than 5 years old. I lived a lot of years elsewhere. Right now, I'm very happy here. I'm very blessed to be here. We live a very comfortable life. Look at the beautiful view this morning, but this has been just a percentage. A small piece of my life's cake has been eaten here. And I've got memories, I've got foundations in many different places. I'm not saying I'm planning on moving. I'm just saying you don't have to give up who you are, your principles, your beliefs, your morals, just because you relocate to somewhere for a short time. If anyone ever touched my daughter in public, that would be potentially a problematic situation, because that is something that I am not comfortable with. Obviously, I would have to handle things in a measured way, but if someone was acting inappropriate around my daughter, for me, that's something where being a man and being a father comes before all else. It is honestly bloody windy, mate. I cannot wait for this wind season to end. But that is it for today's video, guys. I've literally don't even know what I've just spoken about for 10 minutes. But if you're still here, guess where I'm going on Friday? Koh Kood. First time in Koh Kood, one of Thailand's lesser known paradises. I think it's because we have got a 4-hour drive on Friday morning to get down to the Koh Kood pier before we then get the boat across to the island. Something that is that out of the way and not easily accessible compared to a Phuket, compared to a Krabi. I can kind of understand why it doesn't get as much coverage, why it doesn't seemingly get as many people visiting. Hopefully that means it is the untouched paradise that we are hoping it's going to be, and hopefully this decent weather will continue through the weekend. And then next week I'm taking this Insta360 X5 bad boy and my daughter up the tallest building in Bangkok, in the tallest building in Thailand, and I'm going to stand there like this for about 10 minutes filming the city. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe.